country. Let's have a look at the situation regarding education after the State of the Nation address and look at issues around teacher training and teachers being threatened by learners at school. For more on this, we speak now to Kabelo Mahlobogwane, the Gauteng Secretary of the Educators Union of South Africa. Kabelo, thanks so much for coming in. Good evening.
Thank you for having me.
Why did you march?
There's a lot of issues, but amongst others, we're very concerned about the education system which produces quality more than quantity. I mean, how can you have learners who are progressed because they failed the phase once? You know, in our education system, I'm not sure if you're aware, learner that fails a phase once will not fail that phase ever again, even if they have a 0% average. We don't want an education system which focuses more on producing numbers for the minister to announce on a speech than to give our young people the necessary skills for them to be able to compete in the world outside matric.
In other words, you say we're not doing what we should be for our children. They're not getting the quality of education they should.
We're not. There's no education there at all. People are just put through the system so that the government is seen like it's working. But in reality, it's not. If you take someone, you push them up to grade 12, and in grade 12, you fail them. What's that? There's no mentorship. There's no proper education. But that is more because teachers themselves are not protected. There's no regular workshops for teachers. After you come from varsity as a teacher, that's it for you. You won't get any training, you won't get any development. Teachers can't even go to higher education and further their studies because they're inundated with work. You work during school hours, you work at home, you neglect your loved ones. Teachers don't even have romantic relationships anymore because they're working 24 hours, they're marking, they're preparing lessons. It's too much for them.
Kabelo, I realize you represent teachers and you're a teachers union, but teachers have school holidays. I don't get school holidays.
During school holidays, you prepare for the next term. That's what happens. During the term, you mark work after work. Because remember, as a teacher, you work from 7:30 up until 2 o'clock when you knock off. No marking, no sitting down, standing up the whole day and talking to learners. After that, that's when you have time to prepare. After that, that's when you have time to mark. After that, that's when you have time to call parents and inform them of the learners' progress. That happens outside of the formal working hours. And mind you, we don't have extra time. We don't get extra pay for that.
Okay. I'm sure you've seen the footage on Twitter of a teacher hitting a child this week.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
slapping. I haven't seen it myself, so you're in a better position than I. But what leads a teacher to do that to a child? I mean, there are various things in this particular case, but this is not the first one.
Yeah.
There must be a sense of frustration, a sense of actually just not being able to do anything else almost. Teachers
are frustrated. Let me tell you, that situation, that incident is just unfortunate. You know, it happened to one of our own. We, sympathize with the learner, but we sympathize with the teacher herself because we understand that she's frustrated. As a teacher, whereby you have to work during school hours and after school hours, you don't have time to refresh. You can't even afford, because teachers are not being paid. They're being paid peanuts. They can't even afford to take time off and go see a psychologist. They can't even afford to go during holidays for a recreational activity. That's from frustration. And we are going to launch on that, just when we're that, we are going to launch as Yusha Gauteng, a program whereby we are going to call on all teachers in the province to take leave 2 days a month, whereby they sit at home, do nothing, watch TV, relax, read a book, because teachers are frustrated. I mean, how can you go to school work after you've seen a teacher being killed in Northwest, just in the hands of a learner? How do you go back to that environment? Teachers are attacked every day. My problem is that people in our country want to be reactive. We want to address the incident after it happened, effect, but we don't go back to deal with the cause. People must ask themselves, what is the cause of that teacher ending up doing that? But the incident is unfortunate itself, and it's regrettable.
But surely, Kabelo, you say that teachers are overworked and underpaid. Surely most people would rather be a teacher than mining for gold 4 kilometers underground. That's a much harder job. They get paid far less than teachers. They don't get 2 days off a month to go and watch TV.
We're going to only implement that program this year, but let me tell you something. If you go to a mine, you work. After work, what do? You have time to relax, you have time to spend with your loved ones, you have time to have 2 beers. As a teacher, after you come from school, remember you've been talking the whole day. When you get home, you have to mark. You have to prepare for the following day. There's no time for you to relax, watch TV and refresh your mind. You are always working 24 hours. Put this into practicality. Have you ever seen a teacher getting extra pay for overtime? It doesn't happen. It's not there. The employment contract of teachers says teachers have formal working hours and informal working hours. What is that? How can you have an informal working hour?
Okay, if you look at the things that come up in our education system from time to time, issues often around race, around gender, around overcrowding, around money, around resources, they really do reflect, I mean, the problems in our education system reflect the problems in our society.
Yeah.
Government can't fix the problems in our society. They can't fix that children live in child-headed households. They can't fix violence in our society like that. I mean, it's not going to happen. So then what do we do? I mean, you can march against government and you can ask them to do more. Sure, I mean, I fully accept that. They're the people responsible. But, I mean, it's not just up to government. It's up to everybody.
We are always writing to government officials in the department. I mean, in Gauteng, we've written to the Tshwane South District. We have been met with arrogance from the officials, even the district director. We write to the MEC, Mr. Panyaza Lusufi, who's try to assist some way. We give solutions. We are saying that from grade 5, they must introduce subjects which are going to prepare these people for work. They must introduce subjects which are going to be related to boiler making. They must introduce subjects which are going to be related to electrical engineering, so that if our learners are unable to compete with the education, in high school, they can be able to at least go and work. They are ready, they have the academic skills. But at the same time, if a government cannot provide those basic services, they must go sit down. It means they're not ready to govern. They must stop campaigning, go home, find careers like us. Those without matric, they must just go sit home, even head cattle if it's possible.
Does your union support any political party?
We are politically unaffiliated. We don't compete in politics. We support anyone that wins because we support democracy and we support the views of the majority in our country.
Kabelo Mahlobogwane, thanks very much indeed. The Gauteng Secretary of the Educators Union of South Africa with you here on SABC News.